A very warm welcome to all the students for this third lecture. In this lecture, we are going to see, or we are going to explore the artificial intelligence problem solving techniques. Okay, so the chapter that we are going to see today is problems, problem spaces and search. Okay, now before we proceed, what is a problem space? Okay, now I start with the terminology called as state. Okay, now any state is basically, it's a configuration okay. So whenever we talk about game playing, okay, state is basically the configuration, current configuration of the game. Now for example, if you have tic-tac-toe game, tic-tac-toe is a game which has, which is played by with 3x3 board, okay, and so altogether there are 9 cells, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and it's a 2-player game, and at every point of time, at every turn, player 1 can mark X, okay, so you can say that player 1 can mark X and player 2 can mark O, okay, onto the blank cells, right? So initially what happens, if you see this game initially, okay, all the 9 places will be blank, right? Now, so this is the initial configuration of the game, okay. So what is initial configuration? Initial configuration of the game is nothing but the one wherein there is a board of 3x3, okay, with 9 cells actually, and all the cells are empty initially or blank. Fine. Now what are the different moves? Okay, suppose it's the first player's turn. So what the first player can do is he can mark X here, right? Or second option, he can mark X here. Third option, the player can mark X here. Fourth option, player can mark X here. Fifth option, the player can mark X here. Sixth option, the player can mark X here. And similarly, the seventh option would be that player can mark X here. Okay. Eighth option, I don't have space, I'll write here. Eighth option is the player marking X here, and ninth option is the one wherein player marks X here. So that means from the initial configuration, after the player 1 marks X in one of these 9 cells, the configuration of the game changes. So from this configuration, if X is marked on the leftmost, we can say leftmost cell, then the configuration changes here. So in the initial configuration, all the cells were empty. In after player X plays a move, the configuration changes to this current configuration where the first cell is already marked, and there are how many left? There are 8 other cells which are left to be marked. Now, since all the cells are blank, player 1 can mark X in any of these columns, any of these cells, correct? Player 1 can mark X in any one of these 9 cells. So as a result, from this initial configuration, there are 9 possibilities that we have seen, 9 ways player 1 can mark. Okay, so then player 2's turn, player 2 has to mark O. Now assume that player 1 has already marked X in the leftmost cell. So player 2 in this case has how many possibilities? 8 other possibilities. One way, player X who has already marked X, player 2 can now mark O here. Okay, this is the first possibility. Or the second possibility would be, knowing that X is marked here, player 2 can mark here, and this will continue. So as a result, as the configurations changes, okay, this what you see in front of you, this becomes a problem space, okay, or it looks like a tree, correct? It looks like a tree where this is a root node and these are the branches. Okay, so this is called as problem space. Okay, now I just told you what is a state. State is nothing but it is the configuration of the game at any point of time. So I can say that this is the initial state, right? Initial state. What are the parameters of the initial state in this case of mine? There are 9 cells on the 3x3 board and all 9 cells are empty or blank. Then after applying a particular move from the initial state, you go to this state, current state. Okay, I will call this initial state as suppose A. Then after applying this particular rule, okay, I will call this state as B. So I can say from initial state, that is A, or from initial configuration, that is A, after applying a particular rule of marking X onto the leftmost cell, the configuration changes to the current state, that is B. Right? Similarly, if not here, the player chooses to mark here, suppose, then the configuration changes to another state, and I will call this state as say C. Then this state can be called as D. Okay, this state can be called as E, and so on. Okay, so when you work in this fashion, okay, you can see for yourself that what you are going to get is a tree structure. Okay, so for this tic-tac-toe game, initially there will be only one node. I will just call it as A. Now from this node A, there are 9 ways in which the player can mark X. So you will have B, C, second possible configuration, D, third possible configuration, E, that's a fourth possible configuration, F, that's a fifth possible combination, G, this is the sixth possible combination. I can just write here H, that's a 7 possible configuration, and finally say I, that's the 8th possible combination, and there are 9 possibilities, so last combination will be J, so this will be the 9th possible combination. So from this I will say level 1 or level 0. In level 1, okay, there are 9 nodes. So from one node there are 9 nodes. Now suppose this configuration is the one wherein say the player has played X over here. Suppose this is that configuration. I have just named the configuration as J. Okay, so let's say this is the configuration where player has marked X to the topmost left cell. So I have named it as J. Now from this configuration, now it is second player's turn, right? So second player, player B, who is now supposed to mark O, he has how many possibilities? He had 8 other possibilities. There are 8 ways how O can be marked. So from J, okay, from J, he has 8 other possibilities of marking. Okay, so suppose K is the first possibility, L is the second possibility, M is the third possibility, N is the fourth possibility, then O is the fifth possibility, then P is the sixth possibility, right here, Q, this is the seventh possibility, and R, that's a 8th possibility. So altogether, so one of the possibilities here, R is nothing but it is this. Player 1 who has already marked X, and now suppose player 2 has marked O here. So R, this configuration I have just named it as R. This is one possible, this is one possibility, correct? So in general, okay, for each node there are how many child nodes? For J, for the node J, there are how many child nodes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Based on 8 possibilities, the player 2 can play, correct? So in general I can say from this node J there are 8 possibilities. Similarly, from the node I, how many possibilities are there? Here also there are 8 possibilities. Now from this node B, how many possibilities are? Here also there are 8 possibilities. From node C, here also there are 8 possibilities. From this there are 8 possibilities. From this node as well there are 8 possibilities. From this node as well there are 8 possibilities. From this node as well there are 8 possibilities, and from this node as well there are 8 possibilities. So you can imagine at level 0 there was a single node. Okay, at level 1 there were how many? There were 9 nodes. Okay, so the number of nodes I will be depicting in green color. So initially there was only one node. At this level there were 9 nodes, and at the next level here there will be 9 into 8 nodes. Okay, so there are 9 into 8 nodes. So you can just imagine how huge the number of nodes have become. Okay, so further, okay, so let's consider one of the nodes in this case. Okay, one of the nodes in this case, let's say this node is the one wherein the configuration will now look like this. In the previous turn, player 1 has already marked X, and player 2 now has say marked O. So this is one of the nodes. Now from here again it is player 1's turn. So player 1 will have how many possibilities? Player 1 will have 7 other possibilities. Correct? So that means for each of these 8 nodes, there are 7 other possibilities. So altogether how many possibilities? There are 8 nodes, and each node has 7 possibilities. So 7 into 8 possibilities only for this branch. Correct? Similarly for this, there are 8 nodes, and for each node there are 7 other possibilities. Similarly for this, for each node there are 8 nodes, and for each node there are 7 possibilities. So for each of this you will have 7 into 8, 7 into 8, 7 into 8. For this also you will have 7 into 8, 7 into 8, and for this also you will have 7 into 8 possibilities. So you can just imagine, so for each node, each parent node here, there will be 7 into 8 possibilities, right? So at this level, at level 3, level 0, level 1, level 2, at level 3, there will be 7 into 8 into how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So how many possibility, how many nodes will be there? It will be 7 into 8 and whole into how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 other possibilities. So how many nodes will be there at the next level, right? So if you happen to see this depth versus number of nodes graph, okay, so let's say this determines number of nodes and this determines the level or depth. So this is level 0, then level 1, level 2, and so on. So you see, initially at level 0 there was only one node. Okay, let's say this is 1. Then you see at level 1 you see the number of nodes are 8, let's say. So 9. So let's say here, this point, right? Then suddenly what happens? At level 2 the number of nodes have shooted up exponentially, 9 into 8. So it will be exponential somewhere here, and so on. So you just see what graph do you obtain. Okay, so it's an exponential graph that we obtain. Okay, so this is the exponential graph that you obtain. So what happens is, usually for a simple game, a very simple game like tic-tac-toe, the state space, this is called as state space. State space is nothing but it is basically set of all possible states that are reachable from the initial state. So basically what is the aim of the game? Okay, we will start with initial state. Each player will play, and as each player plays, chooses a particular node, the graph will proceed from one level to the next level, and finally the aim is either player 1 or player 2. Okay, after playing this game, either player 1 or player 2, they should reach a final state, say F, and final state could be something like this. Say for player 1, the final state could be like this, one of the final states if it is player 1, and so on. Okay, so the state space is nothing but it is basically the graphical representation. Okay, it is basically the connection of all the states that are reachable from the initial state, and sometimes some unimportant states, so the states which never be visited, also those states can be part of this state space. Okay, so this is basically something called as a state space. So state space is nothing but it is basically a graph. Fine. So for a graph you will always have the initial state. This is initial state. You will have one or more final state. Final state will be that configuration wherein player 1 or player 2 will be a winner, or maybe a draw condition also could be a final state. Okay, they are the leaf nodes, and intermediate nodes are the intermediate configurations there you are going to reach while playing the game. Okay, so this ultimately results into a graph, and this graph where each node is a state and each edge is nothing but it's a rule that is applied, so that now for example this arrow here, okay, for example this arrow here is nothing but it is basically, this arrow refers to the rule that is applied, so that from the initial state A you move to the current state J. So this is the rule. So edges represent the actions or rules or operators. Okay, remember rules, every game has a rule, right? So rule can be also called as operator, or it is also called as action. Fine. So state space basically consists of the states, which are nothing but configurations of the game, wherein there is initial state, there are intermediate states, and there are also final states. And then the edges, they represent the rules that is applied, to move from one state to other state. Rule is also called as operator, it is also called as action. So now for game playing and problem solving, initially only this entire state space, entire state space is already loaded into the machine's knowledge base or memory, so that whenever a player plays a particular move, machine first only knows that what move it can play, so that it can reach the winning position. Okay, so this is basically called as problem space if it is a problem that you are solving, or it is called as state space in general. Okay, so even if you have not understood this in the PPT, slowly you will understand. Okay, this was just an overview of what I am going to teach in this particular lecture. Fine. So let us start with our presentation. Okay. So few terminologies that we need to know. State is nothing but configuration of the game or the problem at any point. That is basically state. Correct? So we had seen different states. State is nothing but configuration of a game at any point. Okay. Then what is state space? State space is nothing but it is description of all possible states that are reachable from the initial state. Okay. So if this is the initial state, okay, just have a look here. If I is the initial state, okay, what is state space? State space is basically set of description of all the states, say S1, S2, S3, okay, and further description of all the possible states that are reachable from this initial state. That's a state space. Fine. Now this state space, it forms a graph. State space basically it forms a graph, where the nodes of the graph are nothing but states, and arcs are called as actions. Okay, the arcs are called as actions, or they are also called as, okay, I have not written here, arcs are also called as actions or operators, or they are also called as rules. 5th December. Okay. Now initial state is nothing but it is the initial configuration of the game. So this will be the initial state. So in our tic-tac-toe game we have seen initial state is the one wherein that 3x3 board is empty, all the cells are blank. That's the initial state. Goal state or the final state is the one in which if you are reaching that state, that means either you are winning or you are losing or the game is draw. Okay. So goal state is the one wherein if you reach, that means you either win or you lose or it's a draw. In case of our example of tic-tac-toe. And then path cost. Now many a times it is also important you finish the game in how many moves. Now tic-tac-toe is not an example, but let's say you are given some task and you are supposed to finish that particular task. So many a times in some games it is important not only winning but that win is in how many steps. For example, in chess, suppose a game, suppose a particular player X, suppose in chess, suppose player A, okay, he wins the game in say 25 moves, player B, he wins the game in 32 moves, then I will say this is the most efficient move, right? So whenever in the state space or whenever in the problem space, when there are more than one goal state, okay, what is important is which is the optimal solution, right? Which is the optimal solution. So suppose you are in the initial state I, and from initial state, suppose G is the goal state, and there are multiple ways through this node, then there is another way through this node, there is another way through the third node. Suppose there are multiple paths that you can take to reach the goal node from the initial node, then in this case, which will be the optimal solution? The path that will give you the optimal path cost will be the optimal solution. So what is path cost? It is the cost incurred. Path cost is nothing but cost incurred in moving from one node to the other node. So let's say from I to move to state S1, the path cost taken is 2. Then from S1 say further to move to say S11, suppose to move to this node, path cost taken is 4, and so on. So what is the path cost in moving from, total path cost from moving from I initial state to say S11? It will be 2 plus 4, right? So path cost is nothing but it is the cost incurred in moving from one node to another node. That's a path cost. So these are the main terminologies that you have to remember when you are talking about problems and problem spaces and searching these problem spaces. So this entire chapter is dedicated for this. Okay. Now the fifth component, these are the four terminologies or four components. Fifth component is the production rule. Now what happens is, I just told you that what is the state space? State space is nothing but set of all the states that are reachable from the initial state. Okay. Now how do you move from one state to another state? By application of a rule, I said, correct? So please see this green color. So it means that from state I, on applying this particular rule, okay, on applying this particular rule, I go to S1 state, correct? Say on applying rule 1, I go to S1 state. So rules, actions or operators applied to the current state, they are called as production rules. So what are production rules? Production rules are nothing but they are the rules or they are the actions or they are the operators that are applied to the current state that results into the next state. So if I wanted to write rule, this is a graphical representation, but if I wanted to write the rule for what has happened here, I could have written from state I, on applying this rule, the machine moves to the state S1. So this is a rule. Okay. You remember in ALC also we had something called as productions. Okay. So production rule is nothing but a production. It simply means that from left hand side state, okay, on applying the rule, what will be the resultant state where you are going to reach. So from I, after applying this particular rule, I move to S1. So I will call this rule as R1, rule 1. So this is the rule. Okay, so in general, the rules are written how? Rule is written with X implies Y, where left hand side, this X, it represents the current state in the problem space, and right hand side, Y is the resultant state after the rule is applied. Fine. So here I is the current state, so you are in I, and after this rule was applied, where do you reach? You reach to S1 state. So I implies S1 means from the current state I, on application of this rule R1 or rule 1, we move to S1 state. That's the meaning of it. Okay. So one thing you please note that in AI, whenever any game is being played or any problem is solved, what is required is rule base. Okay, rule base is required. Rule base is nothing but these are the set of rules which are given to the machine, which are told to the machine that these are the valid rules. So what machine will do? Machine will apply these rules in certain combinations, trying to reach the goal state. Right? Next, production system. AI system developed for solving any problem is called as production system. Okay, so any AI system that is developed for solving a problem, okay, is called as a production system. Now what are the components of this production system? The first and foremost component is the production rules. Okay, we have already seen what are production rules. So first component of the production system is the production rules. Okay, rules which are of the form X implies Y. Then where these rules will be stored? Okay, so there should be some data storage, correct? So rules will be stored in something called as knowledge base or just KB. Okay, knowledge base or KB is a kind of database wherein all these rules or initial instructions or the production rules are stored, so that the machine can use these rules to go from one state to another state to make the decisions. Okay. Third component of production system is control strategy. Okay, now what happens is in the knowledge base there will be thousands of rules that are stored. At any point of time, how machine will decide which rule to apply, whether it is R1, R2, R3, which rule? Suppose there are thousands of rules stored in the knowledge base. So control strategy is a strategy that determines the order. Control strategy determines the order to do what? Order in which the rule is applied compared to the database or knowledge base rules. So what control strategy will do? It will see the different rules which are there in the knowledge base, and the control strategy is going to decide what is that order in which the rule will be applied. Which rule will be applied first, which rule will be applied next, and so on. So that is control strategy, the third component of production system. So production system has production rules, there is a knowledge base where these rules are stored, and there is a control strategy that operates on this knowledge base rules and determines the order in which the rules can be applied, so that you move from the initial state to the final state. Okay, you can say knowledge base is something, it's kind of database. And then there is a rule applier. Rule applier, what it does? Rule applier, it checks what is the current state. Okay, rule applier checks what is the current state with left hand side of rules in the knowledge base and finds appropriate rule to apply. For example, in this case of mine, okay, suppose I am in S3. Okay, suppose I am in S3. S3 is my current state, suppose. Correct? And now, which rule is supposed to be applied? There are many rules. So let's say in the knowledge base there is one rule. S3 gives S33. S1 gives S4, S41, S5 gives S61, and so on. Suppose there are thousands of rules. What rule applier will do? It will check the current state. So what is my current state? Current state is S3. And then it will compare this current state with left hand side of the rules. Now there are so many rules. It will check each one's left hand side. Okay, this left hand side S1, is it matching the current state? No. So this cannot be applied. Is this left hand side matching the current state? No, this also cannot be applied. Okay, this is S3. Is it matching the current state which is S3? Yes. So rule applier will now know that I have to apply this rule and no other rules. Correct? So what rule applier does? Rule applier, it checks the current state with the left hand side of the rules, okay, with the left hand side of the rules in the knowledge base, and finds appropriate rule to apply. So these are the major 4 components of any production system. Okay, apart from the state space, okay, there has to be production rules, then where to store the production rules in the knowledge base, and then how these production rules will be applied to move from one state to another state. Okay, so you require a control strategy to determine the order, and then how actually the rules will be applied. You require a rule applier that checks current state with the left hand side of the rule and applies it directly. Okay, now here is another example that is slightly simpler to what I had shown you, that is tic-tac-toe. Let's see this example. Now this is 8 puzzle problem that we are seeing. 8 puzzle problem is a common problem that is being given to kindergarten students. What is this 8 puzzle problem? So there is a 3x3 board, okay, which has altogether 9 places or 9 places where you can store data. Now there are 8 tiles. Okay, there are 8 tiles which are given to us. Okay, and these tiles are numbered. For example, 1, you see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the tiles are numbered from 1 to 8, and there is one tile which is blank. Okay, so this is basically a 8 puzzle problem. So let's say initial state is given to you. Any configuration can be initial state. It will not be that only this configuration can be initial state. Any configuration can be given, any placement of 1s and 2s anywhere, or any number can be anywhere. So that could be initial configuration, and goal state is the one wherein from this configuration you have to get this configuration. Okay, that means the 1 which is present here, it should be present here. 2 which is present here, it should be present here. 3 which is present here, it should be present here down here, and so on, right? So to move from the initial state to the goal state, what are the rules, operators or actions that we can apply? 1. Move the blank tile 1 position up. That means this blank tile you can move 1 position up. Now when you move this blank tile 1 position up, there will be swapping that is going to happen. So after moving this tile 1 position up, this 4 will automatically occupy this place. So when this you see, when moving the blank cell 1 position up means this will go 1 position here, and this 4 will come down. Swapping will happen. Clear? Fine. Then second, move the blank tile down. That means this blank tile, it can also be moved 1 position down. So if blank tile is moved down, that means this 3 which is there will be replaced or swapped in place of the blank tile. So likewise, blank tile can be moved up one tile up. Blank tile can move one tile down, then it can move to the left or it can move to the right. Fine. So these are the only 4 rules that can be applied. Okay. Now what is control strategy? Control strategy is basically a search technique. Okay. Now what are the different types of search techniques that we have in AI? In broad sense, you can say we have 2 search techniques. There is something called as uninformed or blind search technique, and there is something called as informed search technique. Okay, we are going to shortly see what are these techniques. So let us formulate the problem for 8 puzzle. Okay, problem formulation. So data structure that is required for this particular problem is you require 3x3 vector use for board. Okay, so you require a 3x3 vector or a matrix. Fine. Now blank tile can be represented with capital B. So capital B means blank tile. Now the numbered tiles are represented with corresponding tile number. For example, suppose this is the configuration of the game that you want to represent, okay, using the computer representation or data structure representation, then this can be written like this, where this is the blank tile which is represented with B, 7 with 7, 4 with 4. So this is basically a matrix or a vector that is being created. Okay, and each cell is each tile number is denoted with that number in the cell, and blank tile is denoted with capital B. Okay, and now you see this is the state space that we obtain. Okay, now let us have a closer look at this particular state space. Okay, so you can see here. So this is the initial configuration. This is the initial configuration. Okay, now as I told you, from initial configuration you can go to other configuration by applying the rules. And what are the rules? The blank tile, this is the blank tile, this can be moved one position up, one position down. So suppose, let's say this blank tile is moved one position to the left. Okay, blank tile, suppose if it is moved one position to the left, then after applying that rule, okay, you reach which configuration? This configuration. So the 5 will move here and blank tile will move here. So you see the swapping is occurring. So this is one state. Okay, how do you reach this state? By applying rule. Which is the rule? Okay, that blank tile we are moving one position to the left. Blank tile you are moving one position to the left. Now what is the other possibility? This is one possibility. Fine. The other possibility is this blank tile can be also moved one position up. So when you are going to move one position to the up, right, you get this configuration where you see 2 has come down. Okay, 2 has come down and the blank tile has gone up. So this is that state where you reach. And also this blank tile can be moved one position down, one cell down. So this is the down move. And when you do that, what happens? 8 will go on top, blank cell will come down. So this is the. So these are the only 3 possibilities. There is a 4th possibility, that is moving the blank tile to the right does not occur here because it is on the edge here. Okay, there is no rightmost cell from this blank cell. So only 3. So from a current configuration or from a current state, after applying the rules, we have either this option or this option or this option. Okay, so there are only 3 options that we have to when the player tries to move this tile using the operators. Okay, now although there are 3 nodes or there are 3 configurations, it does not mean that player will play all 3 moves. So player may choose this move, and if yes, then from here he will go here. In some other game, player from here may choose this move, so he will go to this current configuration. Or in some other game, he may choose this move, so he will go to this configuration. And similarly, see here, this dotted arrows means this graph, this particular tree, or you can say graph, it will go on continuing, and finally you see, okay, finally from here, suppose I have not shown the intermediate steps. Say directly you reach this configuration, and from here, let's say one of the configuration is here. So if you ask me what is the path, okay, it is from this node to this node, from this node to this node, this node to this node. Okay, I have just assumed that this was the required goal state. Okay, I have just assumed that this was the required goal state, and this was the given initial state. So I have assumed that this was the given initial state, this was the required goal state, and this is, you know, the traversal, that the graph traversal that is being done, or tree traversal that is being done. Please note, this dotted thing means there are more nodes, intermediate nodes, which we are not showing. We have just shown some of them. Now you see, from this node, okay, from this node, how have you reached this one, this one, this one, and this one? You see, when the blank tile is moved one position up, okay, this is the rule that is applied, and you reach this node. When the blank tile, okay, is moved one position to the left, this is that rule, and you get to this configuration. When the blank tile is moved one position down, then this is that rule, and you get this node. And the blank tile is moved one position to the right, then this is that rule, and this is that node. Similarly, for other nodes, you will have such kind of intermediate nodes, which I have not shown. So dotted means the tree is still there, and I am just showing here this blue color arrows. It means one possible path to the required goal. Okay, now what I am saying is, there might be multiple paths that might take you from initial state to the goal state. Then which path will be the optimal path, which solution will be the optimal solution, whichever one whose path cost will be less. And how path cost is calculated? Path cost is calculated based on the value that is present on each of the edge. Okay, path cost means what is the cost incurred in moving from one node to the second node, plus then again cost incurred from moving to this node, and so on. So it will be cumulated addition. Okay. Search process contains expanding a node, generating a node, comparing, tracking the path and path cost. Okay. Now basically from initial state you have to reach the goal state. That means this is basically a searching. Okay. You can imagine that this is a graph, and in the graph you have to traverse from one initial node to the final node. Okay, and what is important is if there are multiple paths that take you to the final node, your aim is to select the best path or the optimal path. So what kind of search mechanisms that you have studied in data structures are helpful here? Graph traversal, that is breadth first search, and depth first search traversals, okay, or search techniques. There are even many more other modified techniques. So basically searching is the process that is required. So the control strategy that we were talking about is basically the search procedure. Okay. Now these are some terminologies that you should know before we actually start and show you the search process. So search process contains one, expanding a node, generating a node, comparing a node, and tracking the path and path cost. Okay. Let's see one by one. Okay. What is the meaning of expanding a node? Okay. Let's say initially we are in this particular state, say A. Expanding a node means finding out who are the immediate neighbors of this particular node. Who are the immediate neighbors of this particular node? So that is called as expanding a node, which means node A is expanded further to find out who are the immediate neighbors, who are the child nodes. So that is called as expanding. Node A is expanded. Now generating a node. When node A is expanded, you find that okay, there is another node here, a child node, and let's label that node. Suppose that node is B. Okay. So in the process of expanding node A, we have generated the first child B. Generate. Okay. Identifying what is that node. Right. Similarly, when A is further expanded here, okay, you see that A has another child, that is C. Okay, so that means node C is generated by expanding node A, and so on, and so on. Say finally this is node F that is being generated. Okay, so expanding a node. Okay, expanding a node we have seen already. Generating a node also we have seen already, and explode. Now what is the meaning of explode? Now see, suppose node A was expanded to find out who are the child nodes of node A. Now when it found out that okay, B is one of the child, we say that B is generated. Then it found that C is another child, we say C is generated. Similarly up to F, after all the possible child nodes of the parent node A, after all the child node are discovered or generated, we say that there is no other node remaining to be generated. That means this A cannot be expanded further, and that time we say that node A is already explored. So when do you say a node is already explored? Means say that node A is already explored when all the child nodes of that parent node A are, all of them are already generated and there is no more node remaining to be generated. That time we say A is already explored. There is no other child left to be explored. Okay, so we say A is already explored, right? So now when we are doing this search process it contains expanding a node, then generating a node, then comparing. Now comparing is very important. Okay, comparing meaning whenever you are going to do this search process, tree search processes or graph search processes, here you will be already told that okay, let's say A is the initial state, it will be already told to you, and it will be also told to you that F is the final state, or let's say G is the final state. It will be already told to you. So G is final. So now as we expand this tree using one of the techniques like breadth first search, depth first search, whenever a node is generated, the very first thing what you are going to do is you are going to check or compare this currently generated node with the known final node, just to find out whether have I reached the solution. If not, then you can proceed with the method. If it is depth first search, then B will be further explored. Say G and H is here. Okay, then from B, when the first child G is generated, then again you will be comparing. Is G same as the final node? Yes. So that is comparing. So comparing is a method wherein as the tree expansion proceeds, okay, expanding the tree nodes, so generating of the tree node happen. After the node is being generated, the very first thing what you need to do is you need to compare that node with the known final node, just to check whether should I stop, have I found a solution, should I stop or should I continue the traversal. Now one difference that I want to tell you, in data structures we have already seen depth first search, breadth first search, traversal methods, but there, okay, our aim was to traverse all the possible nodes in the tree or graph, traversing all the possible nodes or trees in the graphs at least once. But the difference in this is, in here in AI, okay, the breadth first search and depth first search, they are not just graph traversal method, they are search strategies. So we are using these strategies in order to just check whether we have reached the final state or no. So at any point of time while traversing, suppose you reach the final state, then you know that you have got the answer, you have to stop here, and although there are more nodes maybe somewhere down, you don't have to traverse those nodes. So you have to go on doing this process of searching, expanding node, generating node, then comparing the node, tracking the path and the path cost. You have to go on doing this till you reach a node, after comparing till you reach a node which is a goal node. The moment you reach the goal node, that means you have found the path from the initial state to the final state. So you have to stop. So even though there are more nodes which are yet to be expanded, you don't go to those nodes. This is the difference between AI, the BFS, DFS methods in AI and the one in data structure. In data structure you have to traverse all the nodes, whichever are the possible nodes you have to explore. In AI you have to stop traversal the moment you reach the final goal state or the final state. And initially, before the search begins, initial and final states, they are already known to the program. Okay, we will see this further. Now the second example I have already discussed, tic-tac-toe problem. So in tic-tac-toe problem, the initial state, as I have told you, it's a 3x3 board. Ultimately there are 9 cells. Okay, and this is the initial state. Player 1 will mark X, player 2 will mark O. And what are the possible final states? Say there will be so many possible final states, but for player 1, the one who is marking X, these are the 5 possible final states. Okay, there are triplets, either horizontally triplets are created or diagonally the triplets are created. So those particular configurations or states will be the final state for player 1. Similarly for player 2 also there will be 5 other possible states, and there will be another state called as draw state, wherein no progress can be made. Okay, now how to formulate the problem for tic-tac-toe? First, the data structure that we are going to use for tic-tac-toe will be 3x3 vector used for board. Okay, so 3x3 matrix or vector can be used. Now blank cell is represented with 0. So what we will do, blank cell, whichever cell is blank, will be represented with 0. So initial state can be then represented like this, where all the 9 cells are blank. You can see here. Right? Now what we'll do further, the cell with X marking represented with 1. So whichever cell that has X marked into it, that cell we will represent with 1. And whichever cell which has O marked within it will be represented with 2. So for example, one of the goal state, that is this, can be written in this particular fashion. So I just told you O means 2, X means 1 and blank cell is 0. So here O means 2, X means 1, blank means 0, X means 1, O means 2 X means 1, O means 2 and blank means 0. So this particular goal state can be represented like this, right? So this is how problem can be formulated. Okay, so what we will do is we will stop here for today's lecture. In the next lecture we will explore this thing further. We will see another problem, a very important problem called as water jug problem. So till then, thank you.